think that's changing. I see a lot of movies on my own in a theater and I enjoy it thoroughly. I think I see a lot of other ladies also coming and watching movies. It's changing. Thank God.
All right.
There's a wonderful chapter on Shah Rukh where the first time you meet him and you go with a certain baggage because A, you're awestruck, you expect to meet a big star and you're completely disarmed because he's so normal, he's warm, he's caring, he's very respectful towards your father. They have a relationship completely independent of...
I mean, it was, I remember the day so clearly etched in my head, like it's like it happened yesterday. I grew up with movie stars that were stalwarts, that were luminaries, that we literally looked up to, like Mr. Bachchan. You know, when he walked into the room, there was a sense of like, you know, like glory. Someone magnificent has walked in. So there was this stardom that I had realized, being a producer's son, stars were always put on a pedestal. We were always the poorer parties. We were the ones that had to kind of succumb to their stardom, look up to their full of awe because they were the ones who made the movies happen. So I grew up feeling movie stars were like unapproachable entities. I had then lost track with the generation because I was in my college days and I was touching base with my father's side of the business much later when he took me to meet Shah Rukh to sign him for Duplicate. And I had never met somebody who was a young movie star, who was so loved at that time and everyone wanted him in their movies, who was this animated, this conversational, this, what do I say, just this real person. So I was in shock. And the fact that he respected my father so much, the fact that he showed that respect meant the world to me because up to that point I felt like my father had not had the best run at the movies, you know, even with certain people and relationships. And when I saw Shah Rukh give him that love, I think I fell in love with Shah Rukh at that moment because I saw the love he gave my father and that to me meant the world. Nothing else mattered.
There's a lovely insight also when you talk about your father. I think that was beautiful, where you said that despite him achieving success by the time you started working together, in his head, he was still like a production person. So it was his instinct to carry the bags of stars or open car doors for them.
And which my mother went hoarse trying to tell him, Yash, you're a producer. You're not a production manager. You shouldn't be doing these things.
It's wonderful that you share it.
It was his instinct. He couldn't help it. He just couldn't, like, whatever. And it was like, and I, of course, was born like I was a movie star in my head. Even though I had nothing, in my head, I was always royalty. For some reason, I don't know where, my mother always said, I don't know where you came from. Because, you know, I didn't have their value system. And I was always somebody who lived beyond my means. It was because I was pampered by my father. He allowed me to believe that. He really, when I was 150 kilos fat, thought I had 5 kilos of puppy weight that I should lose. He thought I was the most gorgeous looking son. Could have been a film hero, knowing very well I knew my personality would not allow me to be a lead in a Hindi film at all. But he thought he could have launched me. When we were talking about my first film, he said, "Tu thoda patla ho ja, tu kar sakta hai hero ka kaam." And I was like, at that point, I was like, how do I get love and balance it with delusion? Because, you know, my mother secretly, I think, always knew that I was not meant for certain things. But my father just loved me unabashedly.
There's also a wonderful moment that you talk about when Kajol, who you now don't have the same relationship with any longer, but maybe you will in future, when she told you that if you want to establish your, you want to assert yourself on the set, just come and shout the hell out of me, just come and yell at me to show that you're the boss. And you were faking, I mean, you were faking it, she was faking it. But I thought that was very generous of her and very smart of her to think of that. You were young, you were nervous, she was a huge star, and she says, just come out there and shout at me.
Yeah, and it's true. It's what happened. It's what's in the book, as are many other things. Kajol, I think enough has been said about recently, especially when excerpts of the book have been out. So I don't want to say any more about the fact that we have great history. And I want to remember just the history that we've shared. This is a moment in that history of nearly 25 years of a friendship. And yeah, sometimes chapters end, books end, relationships end.
But yet, you talk about when you hugged Shah Rukh at Deepika's party, and suddenly, whatever tension there may have been, melted away. That one hug, there was so much love that was exchanged, and it was all eliminated
I think there was never, there are ups and downs in so many relationships, but with Shah Rukh, it's, there is deep love. There's no other way of communicating the respect and love that I have for him. And I believe that ours will be a dynamic, and ours will be a relationship, and ours will be a connect that will be forever. It's only because my love for him has only grown over the last 2 decades. My love for his family has been so constant and consistent. And the fact that I think that their home is like a home for me in this city means a lot to me and my mother. My love for him is beyond work. My love for him and his family is beyond what he and I do professionally. It really is now a soul connect. I think we were meant to meet in this world, and I think it's because of my father that we have this connect, and we could possibly have our down days and our humongously up days, but what we cannot ever forget is the unabashed love that will remain, and the respect, more importantly, that I think has not been diminished, no matter what.
It has a lot to do with both of you being successful, very successful in your own right. You say that friendships in show business can only succeed if the two people involved are equally successful. Is there something like friendship at all in showbiz?
I've made some very strong friendships. Everyone in this room today is from my industry. My relationships define me. We're low on family. We have very few relatives that we're really connected with, me and my mom. So most of my personal connections are my family, and they're my extended family. I've made the most amazing relationships. In fact, I say this to Gauri, that I think I'm one of the reasons why I made her love people in the movies. Because when she came in, she was so reluctant to meet people because everyone comes with baggage. But some of my most deep equations and my most solid dynamics have been with people from the movies. So I think it's very unfair to say that relationships, yes, you go through ups and downs, and there are always turbulent times. But I have to say that the soul and heart I've found within the fraternity and the industry has been amazing, and I will cherish those relationships for the rest of my life. They're all still there in my life. In fact, I'm a very constant person. People who've been in my life for over 2.5 decades are still there in a very strong space.
And finally, your book ends with your expressing a desire to perhaps adopt a child or have a surrogate child, and you talk about this child as your old age kind of a policy, to insurance policy in old age.
I think you have reason. I feel I have a nurturing quality in me, and I saw that most when I launched Alia, Varun and Sid. I felt like I can't let go of them even now. Like, I feel it's been nearly 5 years, and I feel no matter what they do in whatever capacity they do, when they're on screen or they're at an event or they're anywhere, I see myself staring at what they're doing, what they're saying. That shows that I actually have a sense, and even all the directors in Dharma, everyone in Dharma, to me, I'm maybe age-wise, say a decade apart from them, maybe more than that. But the emotion comes from a very strong paternal space. And I feel like I would like to take that forward. I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but I feel like I would like to be a parent. I don't know in what capacity. I don't know how it's going to happen. I have no clue, and I don't have answers to those questions. But I do feel the need, because I feel I have love to offer. And since it's there, and I'd like to take it forward, because I feel like that paternal instinct needs to be acted upon. And I feel it very strongly. Like, I feel like I have so much within me that I conserve, and I feel that love has to have a release, you know, and it's not going into a relationship. It goes abundantly to my love for my mother and my friends and all of them around me. In my company, I love everyone. To me, I don't think any of them will realize how deeply moved I am that so many of them are here today, and what they mean to me in my life. I sometimes don't express it enough because it's within me, and I feel like that love within me needs to find a platform, and I think that platform could be a parent platform.